The community came together in Springfield, Oregon tonight to honor the victims of one of the state's first school shootings. They held a vigil across from Thurston High School for the 2 students who were killed and the dozens more impacted by the shooting 20 years ago today. On May 21st, 1998, Kip Kinkel murdered his parents before opening fire on his classmates. Thurston was one of the first school shootings up to that point. Since then, school shootings have killed more than 300 people and injured hundreds more.
Students shouldn't be fearing their lives when they're in classrooms, it should be a happy place. So, I don't know, just going to school and being afraid is not what should be happening.
Kinkel, who is now 35, is serving a 112-year sentence at a medium security facility in Salem.